Buff Nation, what is going on, everybody? Hashtag Dylan Rail to Colorado. Appreciate all the love. Y'all, let me know who's in the chat. Y'all hit that like. And first off, you might have seen my short, but wanted to just come out and say thank you so much. 7,000 subscribers. Man, oh man, we're still just getting started. Big shout out to you guys. You guys are the ones that make this a ton of fun. Shout out to Deion Sanders coming to Colorado. Wow. We wouldn't have had this whole fun community without him doing this. So thank you to him and the YouTube community, man. I think we got the best YouTube community in all of college sports right now. It's absolutely amazing. Today, wanted to get into a really fun video. I was thinking today, who has the most to prove this year? Y'all let me know your thoughts as we get through this discussion. But I'm going to give you 5 names that I have my eye on. Some of these guys might surprise you. Some of these guys might surprise you. Some of these guys might not. Are the guys that I included in my thumbnail in this video? Hey, we're just going to have to see. So, hey, let's go ahead and get started. We got Zion in the house. That's what I'm talking about. Y'all smash that like, and we will get started. All right, guys. So my first player right here, going to come hot out the gate, Jace Feely. Jace Feely, he's still on the roster, so that means he's still on the team. He's taken up a scholarship spot, and I think we've all kind of written him off, so to speak, you know, myself included. We're just talking about Mata getting that leg stronger, adding some more cake to that backside so that he can hit those kickoffs now, because we need a touchback every single time out here in Boulder, okay? Now, Jace Feely, he had 24 touchbacks on 44 attempts. That's not what you want to see. You know, you want to see a better ratio than that. You know, you see that 68%, or that's his grade, 68 grade. About 38% of his kickoffs were returned. I understand this isn't the NFL, but I would still like to see that number higher, especially when half our games are played at the altitude they are played at, higher than Denver, okay? So some people have speculated that Jace Feely was dealing with some injury last year. That wouldn't surprise me, because we saw him kick some balls out of bounds. We saw him, you know, kick a handful of short. Now, his percentage at home wasn't as bad as I thought it was. I think he was about 70% on touchbacks at home, if I did my math correctly, but that still is too low for me right now with what I want. I think 90% of the time or higher is what we need to be kicking touchbacks at in Boulder, at Folsom. So I think Jace Feely, hopefully, if he was hurt, he has had a chance to rehab, to be fully healthy, and is able to improve his game, because, hey, if he can go out there and prove that he can kick not only far, but kick accurately, we're going to be a much better team, okay? This is something where if this guy comes out and proves that he's got that NFL blood DNA truly in him, then we're going to be a better team. Special teams is going to be a lot better off. If he comes out and proves that he's just as good, I think, as myself, I was thinking he was when he was initially coming in here. So Jace Feely, first guy. Okay, we're going to continue to work our way down the list. This one might surprise y'all. Maybe not. Tyler Brown. Tyler Brown's a guy that we were all incredibly excited about to have on this line coming into last year. Obviously, with the eligibility issues, that was so dumb. Why he didn't get a waiver, especially when the NCAA is coming out today saying, yeah, it's official. You guys can transfer as many times as you want without having to sit out. Just like any student can transfer schools, right? It's really frustrating to see that he had to sit out this past year. And I think if we had Tyler Brown last year, I think we at least win one more game, right? We at least win one more game. That's how I feel about it. But he's got a lot to prove, because he's been somebody that's been getting a lot of attention, obviously. I think he's become a leader on the team. And He's also facing some really stiff competition, bringing in Justin Mayers, a guy who is sought after by a lot of programs in the portal. We have also Tyler Johnson coming over here from Houston, already a Power 4 starter. So Tyler Brown has his work cut out for him at the guard position. And then with center, I think he's going to try and compete there too. You got Yakiri Walker, who's played a few years now in Division I college football, and you got Hank Zelinskis, who has the most Power 4 experience out of anybody coming into this competition. So he finds himself right now competing at two different positions that have a lot of competition going on. I think Tyler Brown, can he prove that this year off was a year in which he was able to get a lot better and a lot stronger? We're going to have to see. Number 3, my guy Savon Washington. I think he's got a lot to prove. Whenever you're a part of a line, forget if this is Zion or Jonas who's saying this. I think it's Zion who's saying this. Whenever you're a part of 52 sacks, man, that is not a good look. That is not a good look, obviously. And he's got a reputation to rewrite, whether he was, responsible for that as much as other guys on the line. Okay. Savon Washington also has a guy coming in here, Khalil Benson, who's already establishing himself as one of those guys, one of those dogs, one of those kind of nasty type players who's going to talk, who's going to fight a little bit, right? All that. And excels in a lot of the things that Savon Washington doesn't excel at. So again, guys, I think that this is going to be a very close competition. Can Savon round out his game? Can he prove that he was the exception to what was going on the line last year? Can he prove that he's been getting an unfair reputation because he was playing with an ankle injury that he shouldn't have been playing on, because literally him on one leg was better than any of those other guys we were throwing out there last year? We're going to have to see. I'm putting a little bit of pressure on my guy Savon. Right now, I choose him. I choose you right now at right tackle over Khalil Benson. But we'll have to see how this whole thing shakes out. I just want the best right tackle possible at CU. But he's got a reputation to shake. Okay? No doubt about it. Whether that's fair or not. All right. This one might be a little fun. Levante Bentley. Man, rough start to the year. I mean, you got Juju coming in and just starting immediately, being here like 2 weeks. And yeah, obviously our defense and our tackling was not the best this past year, but Levante Bentley was one of our leading tacklers on the team this past year. You would like to see him round out his game. I think there's a lot of talk, including myself. I want more linebackers. Now, again, I always say I'd rather have a more defensive lineman than the linebacker right now. Like, that's how I would prioritize things. But this is an area that I still feel like is a huge question mark. I feel like Jalen Wester helps this room, and I see him as a starter. But again, coming up from G5, sometimes we don't know how guys are going to make that transition. I'm hoping that he makes a smooth one. But Levante Bentley's a guy that I got starting in right now. That could change with Keaton Wade. Maybe he's playing more inside because I feel like Keaton Wade could be one of our better athletes on defense. Let's just make sure we're getting our best athletes on the field as much as we can. But Levante Bentley finds himself right now with some stiff competition if you include Keaton Wade. And we might add more to that in the portal. He's going to be, I think, playing his 6th year of college football this year. And can he come out in his 6th year and really prove that he's the veteran that this defense needs? And guys, like 10% missed tackles, not terrible. Okay. 55 solo tackles, 15 assisted. So, hey, it's like around 70 tackles, right? I know ESPN might give some different stats on that, but yeah, 70 tackles on this past year. Is he going to be able to improve in coverage skills? Is he going to be able to read the blocks better? We're going to have to see. But similar to Jace Feely, this is a guy that I feel like if he takes a jump this year, we will see it. We will see an improvement in one of our phases, in this case, defense. And lastly, I believe in you. I believe in you, Cormani McClain. We don't have a ton of five-star guys on this team. One, it's amazing that we do have five-star guys on this team. It's freaking fantastic. CU hasn't been in that place in a very, very long time, okay? But Cormani McClain, I love what's going on, okay? Student of the week a little bit ago. You've seen that he's been putting in a ton of work in the weight room, and I think things are starting to click for him. So this is a really important year. Probably the 2 years in which you make the biggest jump is from your first to second year, and then your second to third year, right? So he finds himself with some stiff competition as well. We're bringing in another long, lengthy corner in DJ McKinney. We still have Omarion Cooper. Maybe he's more at safety. We have Preston Hodge, who might play a little bit on the outside, but might play more. Probably will play more in the slot. And I don't know if I would consider this competition for him, but you got a guy like Adam Hopkins that a lot of people are very curious to see what he can do at the cornerback position going into his second year. But Cormani McClain, I feel like, taking away Travis Hunter, he has the obviously the highest potential on this team. I think he's got all the tools that you want. It just depends on how he develops. I think that a lot of people are, they stock this guy. They make a big deal out of every little thing he does or doesn't do. And I just want to see him just go out and ball, man. That's why I want to see him shut the haters up. The people obsessed with him are kind of weird. Again, open up a Patreon, Cormani. So the paparazzi can keep track of you. That way you can at least profit off the weirdos, right? Cormani McClain. And yeah, I feel like he's got a lot to prove, similar to how we kind of felt with Travis Hunter. He was hurt during his freshman year at Jackson State. And we saw again, how's Travis Hunter going to make that transition? And man, he made that transition really well, going from his first to second year and even going up a level. I thought he played really well for us. So can Cormani make that same jump? I think now, again, he's settling into a second semester. A lot of people forget that he wasn't here in January or really over the summer. He just got here in August. And so a lot of this stuff is still pretty new for him. And to see him taking strides and things starting to click with him after 6 months of being here, I think that's great. And I'm really excited to see what he does on the field this year. I'm expecting him to take a jump. So with that being said, I'll go ahead and get to some of y'all's comments. Rose said Feely should go. Well, he's staying here. I was told to just drop it, Dave. We're not bringing in any more kickers. So let's just hope that let's just hope that he really was hurt. He's rehabbed, and we see a lot more consistency from him this year. East Coast Kev in the building. What's going on? Yeah, hey, Zion's untouchable, man. You can't Zion Jonas untouchable. Rose, that's right. Zion says Tyler Brown better be happy coming off the bench. And that's the thing, man. We got some real competition right now. And hey, it's always good to have some depth that, hey, hopefully nobody gets hurt, but we know that this is what happens. Guys get hurt. I think he's a fine guy that if he doesn't win one of those starting jobs right now, I don't expect him to, but he can come in there and do a much better job than Jaay Bailey did for us this past year, right? Brian Wilson in the house saying, I think Tyler Brown and David Connor, our line would be much better. Both of them would have started at guard. Yeah, and David Connor, again, a guy that I'm like really interested to see just what he can do. He's been hurt. Seems like they got him working a little bit inside, but if he can kind of be a jack of all trades offensive lineman for us outside of center, I mean, that would be great, because right now, if he's fully made the transition to guard, good Lord, we are a little thin at tackle. And Jordan Seaton, and I do expect him to start the majority of the year, but just like we saw this year with Cormani, just because you got that 5-star ceiling doesn't mean that your freshman year is going to go perfect, okay? And so he might take some lumps. All I ask, guys, is that we give Jordan Seaton the benefit of the doubt. The benefit of the doubt that I was just begging all of y'all to give Cormani this past year as a true freshman. Like, guys, like, I am going to be so pissed whenever Jordan Seaton gives up that first sack or whatever it is and pressure, and then people just start, saying all these terrible things about the guy. Like, can we just stop holding expectations of 18-year-olds to play like they've been in college football for years, guys? Travis Hunter is the exception, okay? And even him, he had his little ups and downs at Jackson State. He has little ups and downs this past year, okay? Like, Travis Hunter's amazing. Not everybody's Travis Hunter. Travis Hunter's Travis Hunter, just like Deion Sanders is Deion Sanders. I'm not expecting anybody to come in and be like those two guys, okay? Let's give Jordan Seaton some leash. Zion, you're totally right. Savon better come in with a chip on his shoulder. I want to see him a little bit nasty, okay? Because, hey, say that both of them got weaknesses in their game. Who are you going with, Zion? Who are you going with, Zion, if none of them have really improved? I'm going to go with the guy that I feel like can block a little bit better in the passing game, but I totally get it where it's like, man, if they're about the same player, give me the guy who's more nasty. Give me the guy who's a little bit more of a dog. Totally get that. And if that's the decision that they go in, I'm totally fine with that. You're not going to get any sour grapes from me. TK, what's going on? All I know is Wade is starting at those linebacker spots. Yes. Hopefully they can fully move him in there. That's what I would like. Just get the best athletes on the field. I have to check out part 2 of Uncle Neely's interview with Robert Livingston. I know he talked a little bit about just the importance of just having the best athletes on the field. So I think we're better when we got Sam Okunloa, Keaton Wade, Jalen Wester, BJ Green out there. He's going to get better condition. That's right. I got Savon starting. Benson on one leg is unplayable. And Bill Gardner from Adam Munster Tigers Buff Stampede, he thinks Khalil Benson could shift inside. So that's kind of interesting. And from a guard perspective, it would not surprise me if he would be a starting guard over one of those guys that we got right now. It's too bad Khalil Benson can't learn to play center, right? Maybe he doesn't move quick enough to be a center, though. I'm not sure. I'm not an offensive line guru. Y'all let me know what y'all think. Outsider, I need to know what made you face palm, man. Rose a day. Omarion Cooper honestly should have never been taken out. If a freshman corner has to start, you have big problems. That is something that I would just like to see again, a little bit more consistency with. It just seemed like so many of our corners were held on such a short leash where we were just like, and I think I saw this in the Coach Prime documentary. He's like, take this guy out, put this guy in, like all this stuff. Or that's Coach Prime or Kevin Mathis. I just want to see a little bit more continuity. I want to see everybody on the defense kind of held to that same standard. Don't give certain guys on the defense longer leash than the others. Yeah, like I don't feel like that inconsistency from game to game like really helped anybody. Like, yeah. I feel he was so bitter when Prime told him to kick the field goal in the document. Man, that was awesome. And I love how the guy, special teams coach, he was me. He was exactly me because I would have said the same thing. I would have said, Coach, it's too far. Coach, it's too far. But Prime's like, nah, screw that. We're going to kick the field goal. Miles my guy, and he made it. So now the place kicking, I'm not even asking for another place kicker. All I want is some help on the kickoffs, okay? Buffs News Weekly in the house. Appreciate you, man. Y'all go subscribe to Russ. He's on his way to 500. TK, I love this. I don't know if you're being sarcastic or not, but it made me laugh. Is David Connor even still on the team? Where's Dave? Where's David? Can we start that trend? Can we move on from the where's Cormani? We need some more memes made. But yes, I believe David Connor's still on the team. Oh, yeah. I got you, Byron Wilson, talking about last year. Yeah, no doubt. No doubt. And Zion, this is a great point. This is a great point here. Seton will have the upper hand because he came in January. This is so crucial, the fact that he's already here. If he would come in August, I wouldn't have, similar to Cormani, you have to give them a ramp up time. He's going to figure out his classes. He's going to figure out all this other adjustment to being out here in Colorado. I mean, we must have it's looking like a good foot and a half of snow right now. Again, like, yeah, like this is, it's just different. Do you remember when if some of y'all went to college, like when y'all first went to college, like that first semester was really hard and I wasn't playing sports or anything like that. It just takes a little while to adjust. It's okay. But he's going to work out all that stuff. So by the time he hits August, man, all this stuff's going to feel like home. It's going to feel natural to him. All of them need to step up. You got that right. Zion coming in here saying, if Savon and Benson are on the same level, give me Savon until he shows me different. But Washington got to play with some grit because last year when healthy, he was very soft. Yes. And I remember him hitting a lineman against Nebraska for a 15-yard penalty. That was after there was kind of a later hit put on Shedeur that was not called. And that was kind of the last time I saw him do something like that, getting that 15-yard penalty. That was it. Yeah, there's a fine line, but yeah, definitely with that thing, with what happened with Travis, man, can't have Shedeur being that guy. We got to protect Shedeur. We got to have some bullies out there. Okay, we got to play some nasty. Byron, yes. This is exactly what I'm going by. It's like you see him punching a wall and talking some mess to David Connor. Okay. But yeah, like we do want to see Savon even out there with blocking in the run game. Okay. You want to see some of that nastiness. You want to see finishing off blocks. Okay. Kind of all that stuff, making sure you're, if you get to that second level, man, you're making sure you pancake that little linebacker, man. Those are the little things that I feel like Savon could really grow in. Picking guys up, okay? Picking Shedeur off the ground. Hopefully that doesn't happen as much. But like those little things I think can go a long way. We just need a new culture. There needs to be a new attitude. I think Coach Lodeholt, my hope is that he instills that. Because I think it was clear the guy that we had coaching the line last year just was not respected and could not instill a culture for whatever reason or the other. East Coast Kev coming in with another $5 super chat. Appreciate you, my friend. He said, I would love for you to link up with the channel Buffed in Prime. They give excellent breakdowns of players and plays. Khalil is him. Okay, so we got East Coast Kev in the Khalil Benson corner. It's great to know. Yeah, I promise I will message Buff in Prime this afternoon. We do DM on Twitter every now and then. He's been huge in helping me take care. We kind of have been giving each other advice on like how to deal with some of like the copyright stuff that will come up every now and then when we do film reviews. He's been super helpful for me and getting one of those things waived off. And I've helped him a little bit too on those things, just making sure he can get as much film as he can. And yeah, we are planning on doing something this month. So that's going to be a lot of fun because I think that there are some things that we agree or that we agree on, and then there are some other things that I don't that I don't agree with them on, and so I think like that is going to be a really entertaining discussion, just to hear them out. But yeah, like I don't know, and this is one that I really want to ask him about. Is just again, I feel like all of us can say, hey, if this person improves their game or whatever, or doesn't have any weaknesses in their game, of course they're going to be a high draft pick. Okay. It's just a lot easier said than done. Sometimes, I just feel like we've been using that term elite a little too much. That's one of my learnings from this past year. Okay. Just try not to lead that, to use that term enough. I think if Khalil Benson had elite upside, you would have seen elite schools go after him. You didn't. And that's the same thing for the rest of our line right now outside of Jordan Seaton. Now, some people might say, guys, this is a video that's coming here soon. Guys, stars don't matter. That's bullshit. Stars do matter. The teams that are in the college football playoff, the teams that are in national championship contention, they have a much higher ratio of blue chip players than the rest of college football. Now, yes, it doesn't matter in the sense of like you just can't guarantee that a guy is going to play at that level, but the more blue chip guys you got, the more shots you got at developing elite talent. Utah is one of the best in the country at developing 3-star guys. Stars don't matter. Well, they do, because if that were the case, Utah would be in national title contention every single year, and they're not. Brady, not a fan of Buffed Prime. That's okay. Not everybody is going to be a fan of all the channels, It's okay. But yeah, I look forward to getting on with them. I think it will be a lot of fun. How can y'all call Benson elite? He hasn't played one snap for CU. Exactly, man. We just need to wait this whole thing out, okay? East Coast Kev saying, sorry, Dave. I'd rather take advice from somebody who played the game. Totally valid. Again, I'm not gonna lie to you. You guys know by now, if you follow my channel, that I'm just an amateur YouTube keyboard coach. And that one thing that pisses me off is some people say Buffed in Prime, you didn't even make it to the leagues, so you don't know anything. Why are you doing this film review? Good Lord, man. Like, come on, man. This guy knows a ton more football than I am. But that doesn't mean I can't disagree with him on some of the takeaways that he has from some of his film, and that's what leads to such great conversation and debate. But there's been some awesome things that I've been able to learn from his channel, and I'm really glad that he's doing it because we need some more of that. Just all of us learning about the game. Just like whenever I get on with y'all doing some of these film reviews, I have some takeaways, just like you guys do too. I think we all help each other's opinions grow as time goes on. Yeah, we can agree to disagree. That's what this whole thing is about, everybody. Rose, when will we know the depth chart, Dave? Will it be right after the spring game or before the season starts? So I think at the spring game or maybe the night before, it will be released on like what the official depth chart is for the spring. So that will kind of give you a gauge on who has the upper hand to start in the summer, obviously. And I don't think we're going to bring in too many spring summer transfers. I guess it depends on who all leaves, but I think right now we got one scholarship spot open, just one. So we're going to need probably 5 to 10 guys to hop in the portal. I bet we bring in another 5 to 10. Will those guys be starter caliber? Maybe like 1 or 2 of those guys. But we won't know those starters for week 1, probably honestly until week 1. Probably. We'll probably have a good idea, like from the videos and stuff like that, who and like the scrimmage in August, who will be those starters, but we won't have anything official until probably that night before game 1. Yeah, spring portal could definitely change a lot. Again, I just feel like right now, two biggest areas of need: tackle position as well as defensive tackle position, the inside. We need some more beef. I think that Rawhide and a few other guys have brought up a pretty good point. BJ Green's a little smaller. Obviously, we know the block bully. He's going to be a starter for us. I think he's a little bit smaller as well. You won't be able to play those guys on the same side of the line right now. And so it's important that, hey, if we're going to have some undersized guys that are going to be our better athletes on the team, we need to surround them with some bigger guys that can eat up space and, help set them up for success. We can't have a super small team. I mean, we saw what that what that looked like last year, right, on the line. Now we do have better athletes, okay, but we still need some more beef up front, I think, to allow guys to operate within their strengths the best. Yeah, there's been a little bit of buzz around Omar White coming in this summer. That would be massive, Zion. That would be massive if he can come in here. I won't I try not to have really high expectations for any true freshman coming in here. Like, if you can get on the field in any capacity, I'm going to see that as like a really good thing. But like Jordan Seaton, obviously, I think that he right now should be the favorite to start at left tackle. There's not really anybody else for him to compete against right now. And Omar White coming in here, like, that would be great to see him, just because I feel like that room is still fairly thin. He could definitely get some snaps, even if he's theoretically coming in here in August, because that room's just a little thin, and we're one injury away right now from like feeling still very thin at that position. So he might want to have one of the quicker paths to playing time with our incoming freshman class if he were to be a part of it. Brandon Davis Swain could also surprise people too, but with some of the other veteran defensive end edge players that we have here, I'm not going to make any big bets on his performance for his true freshman year. How many sacks are allowed for you to buy some Benson DT2 merch? Man, we'll see, man. If we can keep it under, 30, man, I'm gonna feel a lot happier. 12 games, 30 sacks. What's that ratio? Like a little under 3. It's like 2.8, something like that. Let me do some math here real quick. 30 divided by 12. Yeah, 2.5. 2.5 sacks a game. Hopefully it's less than that, but again, I'm trying to keep my expectations somewhat tempered because I don't think we have an elite line right now. I think we have elite potential, obviously, with Jordan Seaton at left tackle, but yeah, we'll just have to see. But like TK, I know that, hey, when you're dropping merch like that, you got to back it up, right? So um, maybe that's got to be. I didn't necessarily answer the question first. That's like how many sacks I expect them to give up. But in order to like back it up, man, we need like less than 20 sacks on the year, man, right? Sorry, man, you're right. Anything better than 52 sacks and 90 pressures is a good year from the team. Yeah, let's just see some improvement, right? Rose saying, I love the confidence I'm seeing in Amari McNeil. Definitely can't wait to see his production on the field. Absolutely love it. If he's able to take another big jump, that would be massive to have somebody else that can be productive on the line. Again, I thought he was one of our most improved defensive players this past year, but don't get that confused with that means his performance was starting quality on a college football playoff team last year. It's not. So yeah, we need guys like that to take another jump if we're gonna, have a chance to go after the Big 12 title. No doubt, no doubt. I want to see him take another jump. Again, right now, the only guy with production that I trust in that interior is Chidozie Nwankwo. Outside of that, don't really have much to count on. So if we can have 2-3 guys in addition to Josie that we can count on, that would be wonderful. We'll see what Damian Lewis and Warren Sapp get these guys to in terms of their level and performance. Tremaine coming in here saying, Savon needs to redeem himself this year. Big fella needs to bring it this season. Do not leave anything in the tank this year. Yes, 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 you're absolutely right. You cannot have any questions about his toughness or his aggression, anything like that. I think, again, a lot of people don't give him credit for playing on that ankle, but we want to see him play with some nasty. We want to see him play with some attitude, all that. Like, he should leave, no questions this year on his level of toughness. Better make all conference Big 12 ways talking. Man, that's right. I was going to keep him. I was going to put him on this list too with Savon, but I'm like, man, I've already talked so much about these guys. I'm just going to put one on there. But definitely Benson, man, with the way that he's coming in and the way that he's talking, he better back it up. Like, one of these guys better prove themselves as being the better guy. What I think is going to suck is if we don't see either improvement from those guys, and then it's just kind of a back and forth on, well, I guess we'll try him at right tackle this game, or after that, I guess we'll try this other guy. That's what I don't like. Somebody's got to come and take this and hold on to it. Sacks definitely will be less KMS if we run the ball. You're right about that. Coaches have the most to prove. Banks, I think that's totally fair. Again, I would at least give two losses we had this past year right on coaching, man. So can Coach Prime orchestrate better game plans? Can he get alignment on all of these coaches to work together? Because last year it was just a broken mess. I think it's going to be better this year. I like the hires from within that he made. The biggest question mark right now is, how does Robert Livingston come in here and adapt, integrate himself into this? Does he get the buy-in, not only from the players, but from Coach Prime? That's what I'm hoping for, because we don't want to see anything that we saw last year with Sean Lewis. Wild Dog, yes, the league is full of former 3 stars, and I mean, I don't know if they're full with undrafted guys that like actually play with significance. But I'm not talking about the NFL, Wild Dog. I'm talking about winning a college football national championship. It's Georgia, it's Alabama, it's Michigan, Ohio State, LSU on a blue moon. Okay. That's Clemson before the transfer portal. You know what they had compared to everybody else? Not a bunch of undrafted guys. They had the most blue chip players in college football. That is the most important thing. The higher potential of guys that you're bringing in here, the better odds you have of actually getting elite production. Again, schools like Utah, now Kansas State, in the past, Oklahoma State, they've done some of the best work in terms of not getting blue chip guys at all, really, and developing those underrated guys into productive football players that can put you in contention to win a conference championship. It doesn't put you in realistic contention to win a national title. That's why it's like, we got to continue to recruit highly. Hey, what am I moving the needle on? I'm just trying to temper some of y'all's expectations, because, again, this is one of the things that I want to talk with Buffton Prime about, saying that it's 10 wins or bust from this team, and it's college football playoff or bust for this team. National championship, like these types of things. I see other YouTubers say this too. I don't see that level yet. I came in this past year saying, hey, like, a lot would need to go on. I picked us to win 8 games, okay? And we would see, like, okay, how good are players like Shador and Travis to elevate us despite being deficient at some of these other levels, okay? I just don't think we have and statistically, like we don't meet that ratio needed to find ourselves in a national title this year. Um, yeah. So, yeah, like again, I'm just trying to like. I think it's great. I'm going to put money down for CU to win the national title this year. Okay, but that doesn't mean I'm doing that with my expectation, or like that's my expectation, and that's how I'm judging on what's a successful year or not. I think the coaches absolutely have to be saying that, guys. They have to. You have to be instilling that winning culture. But for us that haven't seen this program again, won 4 games last year, hasn't sought a conference title game or a winning record since 2016. For some people to say that this year would be a failure if we won 9 games is fucking ridiculous. And it like pisses me off. And like that's the type of thing that it's it's like damn, can people ever appreciate anything? You know? These are like that's the same type of toxicity that you see from Texas A&M, thinking that they should be a national football powerhouse every single year when they haven't won a national title since Hitler was alive. You guys don't understand how hard it is to bring a program back from the freaking dead. Georgia gets blue chip players without even trying. They produce the talent at an all-time high. Yes, yes, yes. Terry Mojo, you're totally right. The strongest part of our line will be our guards, which will then make the run game much more effective. Yes, and I think that's the biggest thing we'll see improve from this team is just the guard play that will be able to run up the middle. We'll be able to open up holes in the interior. Like it's going to change the dynamic of this offense. Six games in a bowl game would be insane to us. Yes, yes. And again, people do not understand how much work actually needs to be done from a program that's dead in the water to get them into contention, which is where we're going right now. 3-game improvement in this past year. Another 3, 4, 5-game improvement this year. Wow. Wow. Wild Dog says, I'm biased because I faced the blue chip nonsense and ran circles around my competition. Coaches were stuck on their perception, and I was left to rot on the scout team. Thanks for the academic scholarship. And I mean, that's just part of college football, man. It is ruthless. And the politics like that happen on every team, including our team in some extent. You know, there are politics everywhere. Need to see what Pat Shurmur's playbook is looking like. Spring game will say a lot. Yeah. Yep. Hopefully we get a little bit of pistol. I want to see more pistol. It's been way too long since we went bowling. Yeah. Yeah. Oh, East Coast Cav, you leave me another super chat? Thanks, man. Dave, stars don't really mean much. Plenty of walk-ons made it to the NFL. Does Clay Matthews ring a bell? Jordy Nelson, Santana Moss? Again, guys, like everybody loves Rudy. Everybody loves the story of Rudy. Rudy sucked at football. Yes, like every now and then you can see guys that have made it to the league. Guys, do you know how small of a percentage it is that guys, you act like people act like 10,000 people play in the league every year. That is not true. These are one-off stories that are talked about because that's exactly what they are, one-off stories. Can you name me the last undrafted running back to come out of a school like Western Colorado and get a second contract and now a third, will be a third contract probably with Austin Eckler? I mean, those things do not happen very often, okay? And again, you guys are saying, again, look at all the undrafted free agents. Guys, like, have you ever seen a national title team just be filled with a bunch of guys that were nobodies and have no NFL future, or like their NFL upside is being undrafted? Like, come on, man. That's what I don't get. Like, you guys always want to bring up the unlikely scenario is like, hey, this is what we can do at Colorado. No, like, let's see what's the most proven strategy for winning national titles. Okay, we can go back and look at every single national title winner probably since the beginning of time, and all of them were filled with a bunch of blue chip guys that then had some complementary pieces with a walk on that did something, or with some 3 stars that developed into some good linemen, right? That's totally fine to see linemen develop. Okay, like, I understand. But to say that you can build a team that can win a national championship without a handful of blue chip guys, you wouldn't see Coach Prime going after blue chip guys. Like, you see that Coach Prime agrees with this, because you saw that they pretty much only brought in guys that were blue chip rated. Like, you had a few of those guys that were on the line, okay, like Eric Brantley, right? But what I'm saying is exactly how they look at this thing. Like, that they think that they can go get a lot more of those guys in the portal than they can in high school right now, and that's what they're doing. Um, Again, like, if stars didn't mean anything to this program, you wouldn't see them go after Cormani McClain or Jordan Seaton or Cam McCall or Draylon Miller, man. Like, that's what I don't get. Yeah. Yeah, guys, like, we cannot win a national title with filling this team with a bunch of Rudies. I mean, it's great stories, guys. It can be turned into a great book. It can be turned into a great movie. But we are screwed if we're dependent on Rudy. East Coast Kev, you're missing what I'm saying. I don't give two craps about the NFL right now. I'm talking about winning a national title. I'm talking about winning a national title. Like, and what I'm saying is, the more blue chip guys that you have, because you will, like, some guys won't reach their potential, but the more blue chip guys you have, the better odds you have of developing a better team than if you didn't. That's all I'm trying to say. Yeah, we can talk about what 5-star was a bust, what 5-star was that, whatever. Guys, like, what is there? Like 200 blue chip guys every recruiting cycle, and there's what, 250 or so guys drafted into the NFL this year. That's including, multiple classes, stuff like that. Like, you have to be a blue chip guy, and then you have to be the best of the best in order to get drafted, man. And there are like 3-star and 2-star guys that can work their way up into that top 200, 250 players every year. Like that happens, but let's not act like that's a sustainable path to national championship success. That's what we just need to understand. Is I do feel like if a lot of things play out in our favor this year, there's definitely scenarios in which we do find ourselves in the college football playoff. But what I get nervous about is, again, just seeing people say this year's a failure if we're not winning double-digit games. That's taking away so much of the building process that is happening. East Coast Kev, I don't understand what you're saying. I don't think you understand what I am saying. I'm not talking about NFL development. I'm talking about winning a national championship. I don't give two shits. Hey, Mr. DW, Rudy sucks. Rudy was ass, and Rudy was offsides. And you're totally right about this, Wild Dog. You're totally right. I'm just saying you have to have role players and utility players along with core star players. So you can't let talent or workaholics fall through the cracks rebuilding a national title program. Yes, that's why you see a guy like Stenson Bennett, a walk on, okay, surrounded by a bunch of blue chip guys, have success and get into a Heisman finalist contention, right? Okay, that's exactly what I'm talking about. We need to leave room for that, but our focus has to be going after the best talent as possible. It's what it has to be. Um, and again, right now, I just hate that. I just hate the narrative that stars don't matter at all because it clearly does with the teams that have the most stars and the teams that are winning national titles. Like that is a correlation that you just cannot dispute. Okay. And I feel like sometimes we get so excited and we get so emotionally attached to these dudes, which I love, by the way. Like I love being all in on our guys, but sometimes we cannot, look at reality straight in the face and see that, yeah, there's probably a reason why we're a plus 30,000 right now to win the national title. Like that's not done as a troll job right now. Okay. But Banks, I think you're right. But at the end of the day, we were a 4-win team. There's so many things that we can say, and any other fan base has those games and stuff too. At the end of the day, our record was reflective of the product that we saw in the field, which was 4 games. Now we know our baseline for this year. I think worst case scenario, we see a 3-game improvement from this team. Okay. But I mean, we're kidding ourselves if we think that we were going up against Texas, Washington. We're lucky we didn't have Washington on the schedule last year. Alabama, like any of those teams, we would have gotten destroyed. We would have absolutely gotten destroyed. Yeah. Yeah. That's totally true. Yeah. Wisconsin, Western Michigan, Oklahoma. I mean, I think Oklahoma made the college football playoff with Baker Mayfield. But again, let's remember Baker Mayfield was one of those quarterbacks that's surrounded by a bunch of blue chip guys. Okay, he came in as maybe a 3 or 4 star transfer. He started his career as like a 2 or 3 star, maybe a walk on at Tech. I can't remember. But again, it's one of those situations just like Georgia with Stetson Bennett. They allow him to come in and be successful because they have a loaded roster around him. Okay. Please don't start. We were in the every game BS. Terry Mojo saying actually the blue chip blood programs, or the blue blood programs have most of those blue chip players sitting for a few years. That's changing now with the portal rules and NIL. I'd rather be in prime shoes right now. I Terry, I'm not disputing where the blue chip players come from, whether that's high school or the transfer portal. I understand that that's changing a little bit, but you see the teams that are always in national title contention. They're always getting blue chip guys, whether that's through the transfer portal or high school. And they're still getting a ton in high school, and a ton of guys in high school are still sticking with them. A&M is kind of one of those outliers where they bring in a bunch of guys and a handful of them leave immediately, like the next year. Alabama, they did lose a handful of guys, but I think they'll be fine giving them a year or two. Kalen DeBoer is a good coach. All that. Yeah, man. We lost to a bunch of nerds, man, and that's the toughest thing to come to terms with. So we lost to a bunch of nerds last year in Stanford, man. And yeah, they got a few players that maybe could make the league or whatever, but at the end of the day, we got our ass kicked by nerds. But exactly, Wild Dog. Like we need to be selective. This isn't. I think somebody was in my comments a few weeks ago saying, Dave, plenty of quarterbacks can play in this system. We just, we don't need a 5-star guy. Right now, we do. Now, if we're Georgia, we don't. If we're what Oklahoma was during the time of Baker Mayfield, Cliff Kingsbury, yeah, I guess we don't. But right now, we definitely do because a quarterback is going to make up for a multitude of sins on a team. That's what we need right now if we're going to reach our potential right now as a team this year is we need Shador, to continue to play better and better. But East Coast Kev, like we all saw scenarios, man, in which we went and beat Oregon last year. That's not fair, but the season changed, man. When we lost to those nerds, spent like $400 to go to that game, to see us lose to Stanford, man. That was tough, and that was the turning point of the season. We never recovered as a team after that. Like, y'all forget that our last win came before Stanford, Arizona State, and all y'all were complaining that we didn't win good enough. I was telling all y'all to shut up, man. Wins are hard to get. Didn't Washington almost lose to Arizona? I don't think their defense was that good. It would have been like yeah, Washington's defense wasn't great, but it was still a lot better than a lot of other teams, man. And again, when you're in conference play, a lot of these games can just be close. Like, that's just how it is, even though Washington's a way better team than Arizona. But even Arizona was, I mean, they finished last year as a ranked team. Yeah. Bandwagon haters. See, y'all are getting too sensitive. Y'all are getting too sensitive, calling each other haters. No, man, we're just talking about this like we always do. And we're trying to figure out the best way to look at this team. But I think we're kidding ourselves again. One of my biggest learnings this past year was, hey, don't assume that we're just going to automatically have average line play on both sides. That was my biggest mistake. Thought we were going to have an average line on offense and on defense last year, and that was our biggest weak point, and it's probably why we are where we are at right now with being 4-8 going into this year. So I'm not going to assume, anything, but my hope is that we can at least get to that level this year. Brady coming in saying, I think having 0-25 commits right now is an issue. We should be a step ahead of where we are in the recruiting last year. We should have built more momentum and built more relationships this class. My 2 cents. Brady, yes, we need to see some guys starting to commit for 2025. We need to start building that momentum. We lose a ton of guys after this year. Let me go ahead and look up the scholarship chart, and then I'm going to have to bounce. Okay. So we lose 29 players that run out of eligibility, scholarship players, and then we're going to lose Travis Hunter as well as Shador, going to be going to the NFL. I think probably everybody else sticks around. So that's going to be 31 guys that we have to replace. Okay. We need to start building some momentum. I would love if we can get that recruiting class for high schoolers to be at least 15 guys. I was hoping that's what we were going to have this past year. But if we can, again, just have like, hey, say we want to bring in more transfers, high quality transfers, that's great. I'm a fan of that. Let's bring in maybe 17 transfers, 15 high school guys. Okay. Split this thing, right down the middle. But yeah, we will lose at least 32 players next year. That's at minimum, because that's all the guys that lose eligibility, and then Travis and Shador. It's at least, or that's 31, if I can do math correctly. It's at least 31. We're going to lose at least 31. We have a big roster overhaul. And so do not expect, unless something goes crazy, do not expect for us to go from 24 to then being a national title contention at 25 or anything like that. It might be a little bit more of a stagnant year in 2025 if we're bringing in a new quarterback and having, 30% of our roster turn over again. We're just going to have to see. But we got a lot of work ahead of us, and yeah, hopefully we can start seeing some commits happen in 25. Let's build that momentum. So, guys, I really appreciate everything. The discussion here was fantastic. Remember, Dylan Raiola hasn't posted on Instagram in 2 weeks. Hashtag Dylan Raiola to Colorado. Let's get that thing trending. I saw that a Nebraska fan commented on one of my tweets saying, David, stay off the weed. Yes, exactly. I want the Nebraska fans to start to feel the heat, start to feel the troll job. Let's get that thing trending. So appreciate y'all. And maybe I'll be back later today. We'll see how it goes. Y'all stay safe if you're out in the blizzard. And as always, everybody, Sko Buffs.